Between 2003 and 2008, a judge in Luzerne County, Pennsylvania, sentenced over 2,500 children to detention. Some were as young as 8 years old. Their crimes were stealing a jar of nutmeg from a grocery store, mocking a teacher on MySpace, showing up late to school, and for every single child he locked up, that judge was getting paid. His name was Mark Ciavarella. Together with his colleague Michael Conahan, he ran a Cash for Kids pipeline that funneled children into private for-profit prisons in exchange for $2.8 million in illegal kickbacks. Think about that for a second. A man in a black robe, sworn to protect children, was selling them. So here's the question. How does something like this happen in America? How do two judges operate a scheme this massive for 6 straight years without a single lawyer, a single colleague, a single official raising the alarm? And what investigators eventually uncovered inside Ciavarella's courtroom was far worse than anyone imagined. Imagine you are a parent in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. Your 14-year-old gets caught shoplifting a CD from Walmart. It is a first offense. You expect community service, maybe probation. Instead, your child is handcuffed in a courtroom, denied a lawyer, and shipped to a detention facility before you can even say goodbye. That was the reality for thousands of families in Luzerne County. And the man behind it all looked like the last person you would suspect. Mark Ciavarella was a respected community figure, active in civic organizations, and a member of the Catholic Church. He was elected as a judge on the Democratic ticket in 1995 and re-elected a decade later. Parents trusted him. The community trusted him. His colleague, Michael Conahan, was the president judge, controlling court budgets, facility contracts, and administrative power. Together, these two men held more authority over Luzerne County's children than anyone in the state, and no one was watching them. But here is where the scheme begins. In 2002, Conahan used his authority as president judge to close the county-run juvenile detention center. The facility that taxpayers had funded to house young offenders was closed. And in its place, 2 brand new private detention centers opened, Pennsylvania Child Care and Western Pennsylvania Child Care, constructed by developer Robert Miracle and co-owned by attorney Robert Powell. The arrangement was simple. Powell and Miracle paid Ciavarella and Conahan $2.8 million in illegal kickbacks. In return, Ciavarella transformed his courtroom into a sentencing machine. Can you picture what that looked like? A 12-year-old standing in front of a judge for a first-time minor offense. No lawyer beside them, no chance to speak, and within minutes, handcuffed and taken away. Over 60% of children who appeared before Ciavarella were removed from their homes. More than 50% had no legal representation. That rate of denying counsel was 7 to 11 times higher than the statewide average. Let that number sit with you. 7 to 11 times. Children as young as 8 were shackled and sent to facilities owned by the men who were paying the judge's bills. The payments were hidden through a web of shell transactions, routed through intermediaries and companies designed to avoid detection and dodge tax obligations. And the whole time, Ciavarella never told a single child or parent that he had a financial interest in the facilities where he was sending them. He later admitted he concealed the payments because, in his own words, he knew it would not look good. That is a judge acknowledging he hid a crime because he knew it was a crime. So how did it all come crashing down? In 2007, a frantic phone call from a parent reached the Juvenile Law Center. Her daughter had been sentenced to 3 months in detention for creating a fake MySpace page about her assistant principal. Marsha Levick and her team at the Juvenile Law Center started digging. What they found was a pattern so extreme it defied explanation. Hundreds of children sentenced without lawyers, harsh punishments for trivial offenses, a conveyor belt of kids flowing into private lockups. In early 2008, the Juvenile Law Center petitioned the Pennsylvania Supreme Court to vacate the juveniles' adjudications and expunge their records. The court denied it, but the alarm had been sounded. and when federal investigators from the United States Attorney's Office began tracing the money, they found the trail. $2.8 million flowing from Powell and Miracle to Ciavarella and Conahan through carefully layered transactions. On January 26, 2009, the United States Attorney shocked the nation by announcing criminal charges against both judges. The scheme that had operated in plain sight for 6 years was finally exposed, and what came next would reveal the full scale of the destruction. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court appointed senior judge Arthur Grimm as special master to review every juvenile case Ciavarella had handled. His findings were devastating. Grimm recommended that all adjudications from 2003 to 2008 be vacated. The Supreme Court agreed, throwing out over 4,000 juvenile convictions, 4,000 cases, every single one tainted by corruption. Conahan pleaded guilty to racketeering conspiracy in 2010 and was sentenced to 17.5 years in federal prison. Ciavarella refused to plead guilty. He went to trial in 2011 and lost. A federal jury convicted him on 12 of 39 counts, including racketeering, money laundering, and mail fraud. He was sentenced to 28 years behind bars. Had he accepted responsibility, his sentence might have been closer to Conahan's. Instead, he gambled on a jury and lost everything. But here is the part that should make your blood boil. In August 2022, United States District Judge Christopher Connor ordered both men to pay $206 million in damages to nearly 300 victims, $106 million in compensatory damages, $100 million in punitive damages. 282 people testified. 79 of them were under the age of 13 when Ciavarella sent them away. Judge Connor called them the tragic human casualties of a scandal of epic proportions. One victim testified that Ciavarella ruined my life and just did not let me get to my future. Another said, "I feel I was just sold out for no reason." And what about the others involved? Robert Powell, co-owner of the detention facilities, received just 18 months. Robert Miracle, the developer who built the prisons and paid the kickbacks, paid over $17 million to victims' families. Conahan was released to home confinement in 2020 during the pandemic. In December 2024, President Biden commuted his sentence entirely as part of a sweeping clemency action covering nearly 1,500 people. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro called it absolutely wrong. Sandy Fonzo, whose son took his own life at age 23 after Ciavarella locked him up as a teenager, called it an injustice and a slap in the face. Ciavarella remains in a federal prison in Kentucky. He is scheduled for release in 2035 when he will be 85 years old, and to this day he maintains he committed no crime. The damage left behind is irreversible. Many of the children, now adults, suffer from depression, anxiety, and post-traumatic stress disorder. Several have died from drug overdoses. Others took their own lives. After the scandal, Pennsylvania overhauled its juvenile justice system. All children must now have legal representation. Juvenile records are easier to expunge. But these reforms came too late for 2,500 kids who never got a fair hearing. And that is the question that still haunts this case. How did two judges run a cash for kids pipeline for 6 years without anyone stopping them? How many courtrooms across America right now are operating without meaningful oversight? If you have ever trusted someone in authority, you know how deep that betrayal cuts. The toll was staggering. $2.8 million in kickbacks, 28 years behind bars, and one judge who still says he did nothing wrong. This is what happens when the person who is supposed to protect your kids is the one selling them. If this story made you think twice about blind trust in the justice system, subscribe to Federal Watch News, because we do not stop digging, and justice never sleeps.